Have I got a tale to share with you all? Let's just go, actually we'll go back to the entrance of this land and I can show you from there. So yesterday, Saturday, about 9:15 in the morning, I set off to go to Monchique. Previous weeks had trouble with Demiana and Eunice following me. But last week I preempted it by giving them food before I went, put that down and then set off before they started to follow. Yesterday morning though, Eunice had gone out exploring. Damiana was there. I tapped the plate with my fingertips, and normally Eunice will hear that and come back because he knows there's food. But he didn't. He came back after Damiana had ate her share of it. And I'd said to her, I said, leave some for Eunice, and she did. So the next thing, I've got two cats following me up this road. And it bends all the way round. I don't know if you can see it very well. I wonder if we can zoom in. That sort of line roughly in the centre of the picture is the continuation of this track. And it's sort of much further beyond that, roughly where that sort of hill is in the distance. Obviously not as far as that, but say about a 20-minute walk away from here. I've got Damiana and Eunice. Eunice running ahead, Damiana walking behind and meowing. Eunice doing his wow thing. And I kept saying to them, turn back, but they wouldn't. They kept following and following. Then this moped came in the other direction from Monchique. And so they shot off to the side. And I kept going. Then a motor vehicle came past, and I could hear Damiana still meowing. And I thought, no, got to keep going. They'll be all right. They'll find their way back. So highly relevant considering yesterday's video about vision. What do you wish to create? So I got back probably sometime around 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and no sign of Eunice or Damiana, but I thought, oh, they'll find their way back, probably see them about 5. So all last night, not a sign of them, and I'm thinking, and then I'm catching myself, and because the mind is straight away thinking, what's happened to them? Are they okay? Have they got lost? Are they going to find their own way back? All these little thoughts start coming up, basically worries. And it's catching yourself in the moment. It's like, don't go there. If you start having that thought, visualize you've planted a seed, unpluck it. Because that's the outcome you don't want to create. So we just go back to the building now. Well, they were on the sort of canopy outside the door of the room, but they've moved, I suppose, because it's a bit more shady. They're on their sort of improvised sun lounger here. Eunice, are you going to look at the camera? Yay, good boy. Aww. So all I did was hold the vision of seeing them coming through the door into the building. And about 9 o'clock this morning, Eunice appeared, followed about 10 minutes later by Damiana. So that's a perfect example of what I was talking about in the last video. Imagination creates reality. You create what you wish to see or to happen, and you hold true to that. Despite what the external evidence is showing, in this case, the cats have gone missing. It's the first time they've been out all night. But it's like, well, Eunice proved it on Friday by coming with me to the water source, which is sort of below where that road is, and it sort of goes round in like an L shape. It was an hour each way, so cats can cover quite the distance, but I thought, what perfect timing. I've referred to this realm as being a diagnostic zone, a place where things are being tested, test upon our resolve, test on the vision that we have created, and we hold true to it. So I'm offering this as proof, the in the moment divine timing proof of what I said in the previous video. So I had no intention of making a video today, but I thought this is just too perfect to not share, because it is a confirmation of Neville Goddard's teachings. It is a confirmation of what Archaic says about being fearless. Take active steps. Well, the active steps in this case is not to focus on worry. So I listened to a Manly P. Hall lecture on the magic flute. I'd recommend listening to that. There's some little pearls of wisdom in that. So, and then I watched Sapphire and Steel Mission 2. It was a series from, I think it was the 1980s. And the Mission 2 is centred on this railway station, which is sort of a meeting point for the dead. There's a sort of esoteric message in that story, because in one sense it's expressed as we leave a carbon footprint, and certainly if the emotions are strong enough, and I'm sure many of you experience this, you can walk into a building and you get an unpleasant feeling, or you're drawn to that building, depending on what it is. There is an energy that is sort of locked into this reality. And in that story of Sapphire and Steel, it was this entity which was totally negative, was feeding on resentment. It centres on a First World War soldier who had to send off from this railway station, and he loses his life. There's 3 workers on a submarine in 1938, and the electric pump stops and they basically suffocate to death, and there's a pilot who gets shot down. So they've all got this resentment energy of losing their life, having it cut short. It's a perfect example of why we have to be totally aware of the thoughts we create, because they can leave a residue energy, especially if they're negative. So I thought I'd just share that as well. So I use that, watching that, to keep my mind away from focusing on worry, because where the attention goes, the energy flows. And I didn't want to be in a situation of the cats have vanished and all those negative thoughts, because it's natural to have this concern. Like I said in the last video, they see me as their mum, so it's beautiful that they've come home, and they don't look too bad for it. I thought, I wonder if Junus has found himself a girlfriend. Ooh, I think he knows what I'm saying. So don't want to make this a long video, but I did want to share this testimony, this personal testimony, because I feel it is a perfect example of what I was saying in the video yesterday. So put the same thing into practice for yourself. You have to have trust in self, belief in what you've visioned, and you hold to that. Just look at the word trust. What's the middle character of those 5 characters? It's you. You can use the word faith. Look what the middle character in that 5 character word is. It's I. Just reminders to yourself. You are a co-creator, and you have the ability to co-create in this reality. It's one of the things we're here to learn and to master, and it just builds from there. But don't be fooled that you do it once and that's it. You're going to be presented with more and more challenges. At this present time, I feel there are some big changes coming, and I don't mean in a negative sense. Some very powerful incoming influences with this full moon, which I believe is tomorrow. It's a Libra full moon, so it's like the scales. It could go either way, but it'll be down to you which way it goes for your own experience, whether you're going to focus on the positive polarity with the vision that you create, or you go into the negative default and you're filled with fear and concerns and worries. So I think the answer to that is pretty obvious as to where to place your attention, where to place your focus to get the result you wish for. So I'm just so happy. I had tears well up earlier after they'd come back, because it's also a release. Because I have to acknowledge that there is that sort of what if feeling, and the concern that they hadn't got themselves in any sort of difficulties or things. But cats are pretty good. They work purely on instinct, really, and they've proved they know their way home as well. So that is absolutely beautiful. So a gorgeous day here. You can feel the heat of the sun. Everything is in bloom, and I'll just show you that, just to finish off, I'll just show you this roof covering. I was trying not to use this. It's a brand new 5 metre by 3 metre covering, but it does the job. I've tied it with rope and things, secured it using the eye hooks. Doesn't look very elegant, looks quite rustic, but that's the sort of look we want to go for. And of course I've had to modify for the solar lights, because obviously it's in shadow when it's sort of screwed back there. So a couple of bits of wood and 4 screws, and brought it out so it's now in full sun. But I don't think the thing's working, but at least it's there. I can always get another light. But again, it's just challenges. How do we look at them? Do we see them in the positive, or do we see them in the negative? So that's it for this video. We'll end with a little bit of pictures of things in bloom and tomato plants. They were just accidentals that sort of the seeds took in the pots. This one I transplanted. So they're the little cherry tomatoes, I believe. So we'll just keep watering them and see how they develop. And then we've got more things growing down here as well. Oh, we've got a lovely... There's a nice place to end. But hopefully you'll be able to see it. When it opens its wings, we've got a little butterfly. There we go. So that's the testimony. Perfect timing. Following on from the last video, effectively. So, as always, unconditional love to you all. Do check out the description. If there's any way I can help you, then just drop me a line via email, and we can go from there. So, may your Sunday be as wonderful as this one has already turned out for me personally.